isn't even trying to escape. It's because the bonding systems that take place with perpetrators and abusers is so incredibly pervasive. Like the Stockholm Syndrome is a reality. It is a reality. They will create a psychological excuse for why they're doing what they're doing, and you have to own that reality so as to survive it. So you're not looking for a way to get away. And this is the real reason that abuse can happen. It can happen because it messes with your reality to such an extreme degree that they completely control you. It's not control if you have to lock somebody away in a basement forever. That's used as a form of torture and a form of teaching people and educating. But that's not to own a person. To own a person is to own their mind. So it doesn't matter whether they're offenses or not, they're coming back to you nonetheless. That's the kind of abuse that I went through. I went through the kind of abuse where, this guy was doing the things that he was doing, and then I was going to school, doing the things he was doing, then I'm trying to function within my family, doing the things that he's doing, and here I am in front of a camera. And then, the sad reality is, once I escaped, I had no life skills. I had no life skills other than skiing. I used to ski. And based on the fact that I can dissociate, which is common of survivors of pain, most people have a threshold where I don't have one. How are you going to feed these people? Where are they going to stay? I mean, the amount of cost is going to blow your mind. And that's just for one event. So my issue is, if I want to stay accessible in that way, it's going to cost me a lot of money. A lot of money. Now, I am really committed, because when most people have an issue with me making money, what their issue is that they don't want content to only be available to a certain demographic that can afford it. This is not something that I disagree with. That's the reason that I'm going to continue doing free content no matter what. That's the reason that I will always have affordable events. But I can't actually sustain this business or anything that I'm creating, and I sure as hell can't create these projects I want to create in the world. And the thing is that the way that I'm going to accomplish this is by having multiple different types of events. So I'll have the ones that are affordable. I'll have free content. I'm going to be offering those things till the day I die, but I'm also going to be offering high-end events that can make up the difference for that. And yes, when you look at those events, you're going to be like, I can't afford that. I know, because they're not dedicated towards you. They're dedicated towards the people who can afford that, so that I can keep providing you free content. Something that I really want people to think about here is whether something is valuable to them. We will spend money on something that's valuable to them, and no one's forcing people to do this. So let's say that my team, because I'm not even the one that decides what price point to set for something. That's a complicated formula that's not done by me anymore. So let's say that my team looks at the cost to put on an event, the cost of venues, the cost of flights, everything, how much money we have to make to sustain the business in this way, and they decide on a price point, right? No one's forcing somebody to pay that. You pay it if you feel like it's worth the value. If you don't pay for it. I also would like to teach people how to create more, in their life, not to be in this powerless space where it's like, I can't have it, I don't have the money, so you need to decrease, what you're charging so that I can afford it. It's a disempowering state. What's more empowering is let's help people to feel as if they can generate abundance through providing value, because money follows needs. It follows value, so that they are not inhibited in that way. That's much more interesting to me than lowering every single standard so that everyone can afford it. Nonetheless, like I said before, very important for me to be accessible to people who need that kind of information.
No, let's just throw everything on the ground.
So that's always going to be a thought in the back of my head. But I do not have this belief that spiritual teachers should take a vow of poverty. I do not believe that our physical reality is a contradiction to the spiritual reality. I don't actually believe that money is evil. I believe it's a tool. And I think in today's world, by all means, create something better that works better, and I'll be using that. But in today's world, money is a tool that can do a hell of a lot.
Just throw it away.
And what matters is not the tool, it's who's using it and what for. Okay, so the first thing that I need to set straight is that our nonprofit is not actually a religious nonprofit. One of the things that my antagonists love to say about me is that I have a religious nonprofit because nobody has to claim the amount of money that goes through the religious nonprofit. It's not true. I don't have a religious nonprofit. I have to claim every single cent that goes through this nonprofit. That being said, we've done projects with this nonprofit. We did a Books to Prisons program, for example. I haven't done anything that I wanted to do with my nonprofit yet. It's literally sitting there waiting for future projects. Because the stalemate that I'm in right now is I'm not to the point where putting all my focus on a nonprofit makes sense. Not only that, nonprofits are very limiting. Like, they're good for some things, they're very limiting for other things. If you're limited to only what donations you get, you can't make very much change. So here I'm just going to present this difference. Now, let's say that my ultimate goal is reforming the prison system, which is a big business. If I run that project through a nonprofit, I'm not going to get anywhere. What I have to do is to create some way for that to be a profitable business, for it to replace the current prison system that we have.
Fucking destroy
so that type
every
of project, for example, is not something
right
that can
now,
run through a nonprofit business. So a lot of the projects that I have don't work with a nonprofit business. It's only going to work for the type of, little projects, frankly, where you get donations, and then with that donation you do something. But that's not where my focus is right now. And that's why money hasn't been going through that. It's been going through our for-profit business, which is TLI.